Hi, it's me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, coach, speaker, and author, and welcome to the latest Soul Trader podcast. This is an audio podcast, but I'm also recording this as a video talk as well. And I am here for this latest Soul Trader podcast I'm recording this at what is pretty much the start of a meteorological spring. And the thing that I want to talk about this episode is refreshing your business. And refreshing your business is something that we need to do throughout our business journey, but it's something that will become really pertinent to us at certain times of the year. The start of the year is one, often when we are resuming business after often the summer break, if we're lucky enough to have one, can be another one. Um, and of course, spring, because spring is very, very, very significant. And it's significant for so many reasons, isn't it? It's a time of renewal, rebirth, change. you know Everything is changing. There's more light, there's more daylight hours. There is just often, and for many businesses, of course, they will be seasonal, and so it may well be a time. The spring season may have been a new opportunity for the business. It might tie in with the end of financial year or new financial year, depending what part of the world you're in, etc. It can be very, 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 very significant time, and a time where lots of people are keen to, even just on a personal level, to do a spring clean. So this idea of refreshing your business is really, really, really important. And also because over your lifetime and your lifespan in business, everything's going to change. In the my own business. I remember that I qualified as a coach 20 years ago. It's hard to believe how fast those 20 years have gone. And in that time, I have seen so many changes in business, in the business landscape. The landscape has shifted hugely. It's shifted vast. The technology has changed. The customers that I've worked with has changed, and the tools I work with, it's all changed. The core thing that I do as a coach remains the same, but the clients I work with, the world around me, everything's shifted and changed. So it's really, really important that we are able to adjust and adapt throughout this particular journey. And for this particular podcast today, I want to really talk about three elements just to make it really, really bite-sized and very manageable. For me, there's three things that we need to refresh. There's your products and your services, and there's your processes. Your processes and the support that you have may need to be refreshed. So your product, your services, and your processes and the support. Let's take them one by one, and we're going to make this fairly short and succinct because the chances are you may well have a busy life and so on. You may well be listening to this as you're driving, as you're traveling, as you're relaxing, as you're working out, as you're on the sofa, as you're taking a moment, or maybe you're sat here, maybe you're watching this, and who knows. And let's start off with you. How are you doing? How are you feeling right now? There are so many demands in life, in our business life. Where are you at now? What chapter you are in your life now? So it may well be you might be listening to this in spring. You might be listening to any time in the year, and you'll often hear me talk about in this Soul Trader podcasts. Well, what kind of season do you feel it is for you personally? Is it for you professionally? Because it could be spring for you personally in terms of your business life, but it could be autumn for you personally in terms of other aspects of your life or your career, and vice versa. Where are you at right now? Do you need time to relax, resettle, refresh? Do you need to take time out? I've coached entrepreneurs who really need that time to rest and relax. And many people are surprised. It's one of the very first thing I get them to do is put in that the you time, the rest time, the downtime, the time to be able to regroup. So do you need to refresh that? Do you need to refresh your routine? Do you need to refresh the times of the day that you work? Do you need to start getting to bed on time? Do you need more sleep? There are so many things that might need being refreshing in you in order that you're able to come to your business fresh. unless you take care of this well-being side, everything else is going to fall down like a stack of cards, like a stack of dominoes. It's really, really important, this refresh thing. So I'm just going to invite you for a moment just to pause, just to breathe, just to close your eyes, just take a deep breath in, if you can, assuming you're not driving here, or it might be that you were driving and you just want to pull over for a moment and just breathe, because it can be testy, it can be taxing, it can be demanding. There's always something to do. So we need to pause, we need to breathe, we need to remember what's really important in life and in business. Need to refresh. Might be for you, there are things that are going on in your personal life, in your social life, in your romantic life, in all sorts of areas of your life, or for yourself and your health, that require this thing that you need to just refresh. Maybe you need to regroup. Maybe you need to completely reconsider how you're working, the hours you're working. I was chatting to an amazing colleague of mine, an amazing colleague who I respect so hugely. And over the last couple of years, she's really had to really completely shift how it is that she worked. I had a health concern a couple of years ago, and I remember, and I can't remember if I talked about it on this podcast, but it was really, really interesting because I had this health concern and I was due to deliver all of these things and all these things. And and then there's this kind of major kind of health concern, and it was such that, and it was something that just kind of happened like that, just kind of happened like that, and so it meant that I had to cancel things. So, there was these really exciting talks and things to deliver. I had to just stop. I had to take care of me. So that refreshing you. What is it that you need to do? Do you need a new routine? Do you need to get up earlier? Do you need to get more sleep? Do you need an hour's more sleep? This is something for you to think about. It's incredibly important. You need to feel refreshed. And you may well be doing a job that requires a huge amount of energy. And if you were a sole trader where you're the only one person in the business, without your health, there is nothing else. Next thing is your products and your services. Are you new to business? Are you at the stage where you're actually putting these things together, what the product looks like, what the services look like? And in which case you might naturally be doing this. You might be finding that business model, like somebody who I'm mentoring at the moment. He's at the particular point where it's all fresh. He's actually giving the things in his own industry a fresh take. So that is already happening because for him, it is spring. He is just emerging in this particular field, in his particular field. And, but it might well be that you've been in business for many years, 5, 10, 15, 20 more years. And in which case things are going to need to be refreshed. And actually, depending on the nature of your industry, you might be in a fast changing industry. You might be in the fashion business, this business, or, an events business, or many, many business, or a tech business, or all sorts of businesses where things are shifting and changing so much. So it might well be that your products need a refresh. Do they need a refresh? Do they need an update? Do they need a new packaging? Do they need to be presented slightly different? Do they need to be slightly re-articulated for where it is that we're on where we are now? Who knows? Is it something that you need to have some conversations with colleagues or contacts or with your customers about? Customers can be really, really good about them, about that. If you've been in business for a while, maybe having that survey of what do you think about our products? How are we doing? What do you like? How did you find us? How did you find our services? Giving comments, and then any other suggestions, thoughts. What else could we be doing? What do you feel we could be doing better? There's all sorts of this whole industry around that. But pausing and thinking for yourself, does it feel as though it needs a refresh? Do you feel that when you're looking at other products or services that it needs a refresh? Or does it just need, or is it just about a fresh take on the marketing and the promotion for what you're doing, and some of the messaging around that? Could be that any and all of those things might be true in terms of your product, in terms of your services. Are you noticing a drop off in sales? Are you finding that some things don't have that particular cut through? Sometimes it might well just be the range of products that you're providing might need a refresh. I was coaching somebody quite recently whereby they were just looking at um, their they were looking at a new product which they had in their product range, and we had a number of discussions because actually she for this business had tried a number of different things with this new product as part of the product range of the she provides services and she provides these kind of products which are kind of different to the main core service but complementary, and she tried a number of things to promote this and invested quite a lot of money into the promotion of this, and then realize actually we need a completely different approach to how we do this. Actually, instead of us trying to sell this product in this way, actually this may well be a better way, that is a better way of presenting this particular product and so on, with a different kind of target audience and so on. But it required that stepping back and that kind of consideration. It might be something that you can do by yourself. It might be something that you might be able to do with some colleagues. It might be something that you can do with some feedback and input from your customers. Might be something that you might need to do with a mentor, a coach, or so on. But that refresh might be necessary. I mean, it's interesting actually. If I think about throughout the course of my career, the kind of workshops, talks, and sessions I run have shifted. And in fact, just this morning, I was just responding to an email from a contact at an organization that I provide a number of talks and training sessions about. And we were just planning the new season ahead, and I was giving a new dates to deliver. And she said, "Oh yeah, when I get back from holiday, can you give me some new ideas for new sessions that we could run?" So it might be something that needs to be renewed for you, for your customers, for your clients, or what have you. And as a sole trader, if you're a one-person business, this creativity is important, but it can be something that gives it a fresh, it could just refresh and re-energize you, right? As well as for your products and for your customers. The third thing I want to talk about in terms of this refresh then is your processes and your support. Do your processes need a bit of an update or an upgrade? It might be because things in your industry have changed. Maybe some of the legislation or the regulations in your field have changed. Are you up to date? Are you aware of that? Is that something that needs to be changed? Do you need to make some changes in terms of the processes because of things that have happened and changed in terms of your suppliers, or because of technology things, or maybe your technology needs an upgrade, or there can be so many different things operationally. The pop-up shop that you work from needs or the store that you work in needs a lick of paint, or what have you, or maybe it is that some of the documentation needs to be updated, or maybe it is that you're changing your business structure. Maybe I'm having a conversation with somebody who's moving from who has at different times moved from being a sole trader to being a limited company. There can be all sorts of different things that process-wise need to be done. Maybe you need new processes because you're taking on bigger clients and so on. I'm having a conversation with somebody who had attended some of my sessions in the past, and their business is kind of growing, and they have got staff for the first time, and they've got a whole range of freelancers. There might be a whole range of processes that need to be put in place for that. I'm about to have a chat with a very, very, very good legal contact of mine, because there are some things and some processes that might well need to be changing, and I want to have a chat with them on their thoughts about that. That leads us very nicely to the thing about the support. You can't do it on your own. You need a team, and even the sole SOLE trader will need a team of people to help you. That might just be your web designer, the graphic designer who does bits for you, your accountant, and so on. But it might be that you've got a pool of associates or a range of peers. And I always think it's really, really important for us to develop this really rich network of peers. And if you've not been along to it, and if you're on that journey where you feel, actually, this is something I need to do more of, I need to get out there more, I run, as well as my sole trader webinar, which to look out, online event, which currently is run once every month, and it's currently run free online. And this is, this is current to when I'm recording this now. Um, in proud partnership with the British Libraries Business and Intellectual Property Centre. So if you were to go to the soul-biz, B-I-Z, website and the events page, you would see the dates of my Networking for Success event and the Soul Trader event. And actually, both of those events might well be an opportunity for you to have this refresh that I'm talking about, to get some fresh ideas, fresh inspiration, to meet some new people, to connect, to have the opportunity to step back and look afresh at where it is that you are and what it is that you're doing. But it might well mean that there's other support that you need, and maybe that's a good opportunity for me to mention places like the British Libraries Business and Intellectual Property Centre, and if you happen to be in the UK, there's a whole network of libraries throughout that the British Library supports, that business libraries, to help you on that journey of starting and growing your business. You might be a business where you might be growing. There are some business growth kind of programs there. There's one currently called Getting Ready for Business Growth, for businesses that are turning over a certain amount and where they're looking to take on staff, and that whole program is often where people need that new fresh lens and new fresh energy and input for that growing journey. Because again, I'm recording this in spring, so you might be for you a season of growth. You may have outgrown all sorts of things, outgrown your old habits, outgrown your habitat, outgrown some of your customers or services or your providers or whatever. There might be all sorts of things that require this kind of refresh. But this thing about support is really, really important. There is a lot of support out there. It requires sometimes that taking a look out there. I mean, there's a plethora. I mean, some of that support might just be, things like this, listening to podcasts, going along to certain events, getting that fresh inspiration that can be supportive in of itself. I mentioned the British Libraries Business Intellectual Property Centre. That's a whole host of, if you go to the British Libraries, either Eventbrite page, the British Library Business and Intellectual Property Centre's Eventbrite page, or the British Library's Business and IP Centre website page, you'll see loads of events full of that provide business support. There are one-to-ones, there's all sorts of stuff, and there's also physical resources. It might be that you're needing research and so on. But that last bit about the people element is incredibly important, because as we know, it can be a lonely journey. And maybe that's it. Maybe you're needing to bring people on board for the first time. Maybe you're needing to bring new people on board to help or support you in some way. I think what's really, really important about this refresh process, as I come toward the end of this, is that it's important that you don't just see this refresh process as a one-moment deal. I'm going to do this in spring, like Rasheed's saying, or I can do this at the end of the year, or I'm going to do it in January. How are you going to refresh yourself regularly? I recommend, many people hear me say this, that you have that 2-page business plan. If you haven't got your 2-page business plan template, if you go to the soul-trader.biz site, and in the resources area, you can, there's some templates, and you can currently get my 2-page business plan template. And, it might be that you're also wanting the book, because the book also might help you to do that refresh. So you might be at a point where your refresh requires a little bit of work. I highly recommend the Soul Trader book. There's also Soul Trader pre-recorded course as well. So these are some things that may well help you. And these things might be good help if you are a self-starter. But it might be that you're thinking, actually, no, I now need another type of support. I need a mentor. I need this. I need that. Take that time to pause and think about what help it is that you need. But whatever help it is that you need, I recommend that you put in, even if it's this 10-minute weekly review. So this refresh process isn't just happening quarterly, seasonally, or every now and then, or whenever the wheels have fallen off and you realize, things need a service, but on a weekly basis, where you just for 10 minutes, okay, where am I at now? What's working? What's not? What needs attention? What needs care personally? And in terms of my business, I think I'm going to leave that there. So we've talking about refreshing you, and that refreshing might mean that you're getting outside more. connecting back with a hobby, the things that you enjoy doing, the exercise, the great outdoors, whatever level of wellness that you've got, to appreciate it and to tend that fresh ideas, inspiration. I know somebody a while ago, she ran her business and she'd always go out to certain museums or work from certain places because that would give her the inspiration. Maybe that's a refresh. Maybe your refresh is that you're going to be working from a completely different space. Maybe you think, oh, I'm going to move from this room. So I'm here in this particular room. My office is downstairs, and sometimes, depending how I'm feeling seasonally, sometimes I'll be in the office, which is by the garden. Sometimes I'll be here because this is where, I'm nearer the kettle. Um, so it does depend. Maybe it might be as simple as that refresh for you, but is it your products and services need refresh? If so, do you need some help with that? And what processes need to be updated and what support do you need? Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. As always, thank you so much for supporting the Soul Trader podcast. I'm very, very, very grateful. Remember, you can get the book. You can find the book on Amazon. You can enjoy the entire podcast series on the soul-trader.biz site. And you can listen to this wherever it is that you enjoy your podcasts. So there's lots more. There is also a Soul Trader YouTube channel. And you'll find me, Rasheed Ogunlaru, and all sorts of various inspiration available from me via my main website, rizara.com, as well as the Soul Trader resource. So lots of stuff to help you stay inspired and stay motivated, and to help you as you do that refresh. Because, for example, on the Soul Trader YouTube channel, which you can link to via the website, there's all sorts of talk sessions and interviews with inspiring entrepreneurs that might help you as you get that fresh inspiration, because sometimes it's just the fresh ideas that you need and you want. So thank you so much for tuning in. I invite you to rest, relax, or just take a moment to pause and to think what from this podcast you might be able to put into place to support you. It might even be the first thing you're doing is putting in that day off, that day out, so that you can pause, refresh, relax. Take good care. Enjoy the season ahead.